All right, continue with number 38, where I'm modeling what I want you to do with number 37, which is to, say true or false, but if it's false, say what's true and justify what's true. And if it's true, justify it, unless it's just a left-hand limit and there's nothing to justify. So when we do D, it says limit as x approaches 1 from the left is 2. So as we approach 1 from the left, yep, that's 2. So if we approach from the left, remember, approaching from the left, we're going to have the x's always be less than c, but not equal to c. So all these ones up here, what are they getting closer and closer to? Getting closer and closer to 2. They won't reach 2, but with a limit is 2. So that is true. And since it's a left-handed limit, it's a one-sided limit, there's not really any way we can justify it. So we're going to just say it's true. For part E, it says limit as x approaches 1 from the right of f of x equals 1. So as we approach 1 from the right, as the x's approach 1 from the right, what do the y's approach? They're approaching 1. So yeah, it looks like that's also true, so I get to just say true. F, limit as x approaches 1, does not exist. Limit as x approaches 1 does not exist. Well, as we come from the left, we get 2. As we come from the right, we get 1. So what they said here is true, but in this case, we can justify it because it's not just a one-sided limit. It's a statement about existence, so we can justify that. So I want you to justify things like that. So we're going to say true, limit as x approaches 1 of f of x does not exist, because, so yeah, I guess I'll write it similarly to the way I wrote it here, because the limit as x approaches 1 from the left of f of x equals 2, but the limit as x approaches 1 from the right of f of x equals 1. All right, so basically saying these two are not equal. All right, G. The limit as x approaches 0 from the right is equal to the limit as x approaches 0 from the left. So here's 0 as I approach from the left, as I approach from the right, they're both 0. So that is true. So, did I get the right? Yeah, that's true. So, but let's just show something from that. You can just say it's true. I guess that would be fine. But, or you could say that they're both 0. But it would be nice to, make a conclusion. Therefore, the limit as x approaches 0 of f of x exists, and limit as x approaches 0 of f of x equals 0. So try to say, anything that there is additional to say besides just true or false. And then part H, it says limit as x approaches c exists at every c in -1 to 1, the open interval -1 to 1. Now, is that true? Is limit as x approaches c of f of x exist at every point? The only point where the limit as x approaches c does not exist is at x equals 1. So the real question is x equals 1 in this interval or not? And it's not, because it's an open interval. So that might be something we could say about that. We could say that is true because limit as x approaches 1 of f of x does not exist, but 1 is not an element of the open interval -1 to 1. And you could probably just leave it there, or you could say, therefore, limit as x approaches c of f of x exists at every c that is an element of -1, 1. So see what I'm saying? Just try to say a little bit more than just true or false. Okay, and then part I, you could say basically the same thing, right? 1 to 3. Does the limit exist here at x equals 2? Yes, it does, because the limit from the left is equal to the limit from the right. Everywhere that the function is nice and unbroken, we call that continuous. At all those points, the limit does exist. At x equals 1, the limit does not exist. But again, we could basically say the same thing up here. We could say this is true because limit as x approaches 1 of f of x does not exist, but 1 is not an element of the open interval 1, 3 either. So there you go. So that's how you should answer 39 is, go yes, say true or false. Try to justify it if you can. If it's false, say what's true. And if you can just think of a little bit more to say than just true or false, then you should do that. That's how you should handle number 37.